Good morning, LinkedIn friends, Value First Nation. Welcome to another episode of Value First AI Daily, your collaborative intelligence report. It is Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. Nico, George, how we doing, fellas?
Doing good, doing good.
Doing very well. Cannot complain, sir. How about yourself?
I am excited. George and I had some fun yesterday talking about what we had built over the weekend. I was planning to talk about what you had started finalizing over the weekend. But we're here today to now you get the whole stage to yourself, man. Uh, which I'm excited for that because I feel like you're an OG when it comes to really building apps like as soon as custom GPTs came out, right? Like 'cause we're going to talk about Hub Helper Harry today. And I would love for you to start there about one, what that foundation looked like and how you've kind of thought about it as we get to where we are today.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a nice little uh jab, and it was just a joke, really, kind of in the beginning of like, oh hey, let's just see what we can do, right? Like when OpenAI was announcing that they were gonna have custom GPTs, I was definitely geeked about that because it's like, oh man, it it couldn't get any better than having your own like personalized resource in this way. And especially for HubSpot, it just made sense to have something that was just a very easy, like, hey, let me just chat to this resource to get the exact answer I need right away. So I don't have to go like diving through pages and pages of stuff and try to sift through what the actual right answer is. And it started with just that, really. As soon as custom GPTs came out, just started very manually going and collecting data and going and doing a lot of manual scrape and figuring out how to write scripts to try to help with that. And it was a very, very massively messy process in the beginning of just trying to get it up and running and performing, even to get it performing mildly better than ChatSpot at first was like pretty challenging. And that's where like a lot of the prompts learning and engineering and all that kind of stuff started coming into play, was learning how to actually build those instructions and learn how to constrain a model that was already pre-trained on something, how to actually like drill down and focus on the data that I had to pull.
And this was
And
like middle of 24, right?
yeah, yeah. Um and yeah, it was great to be able to go head to head for a very, very long time. ChatSpot finally upgraded to a Breeze, and it's been an interesting challenge along the way. Not so much because of like having to keep up with the information, but it's been like a forced learning process too. Because as the underlying models change, I have to go back and change a little bit about the behavior. I have to change something about the instructions, maybe change something about the way it calls files or whatever. It forces you to have to go learn about like the latest techniques for the different models that are available, whether you want to or not, because you have to make sure that your um, chatbot is going to behave appropriately. Um, so yeah, it's been a pretty big challenge over the year or two. No, you didn't want to say years, but it's been a pretty interesting challenge just trying to keep up with HubSpot's data dumps is very challenging. But to also just keep up with the models themselves and the behavior and trying to make sure that more right answers are coming out than wrong answers when you don't have control over temperature settings, getting into going from custom GPTs to then learning about like, oh, okay, here's how like actual assistants work under the hood when we go into like the actual control panel in GPT, and seeing that like, oh, there's vector stores and all these other tools and fine tuning and all this other stuff that I could be using, but I'm constrained to this platform, and I'm constrained to this custom GPT thing. And even though they use actions and all that kind of stuff, it's made it better, but just not quite, you know, everything that I wanted it to be, let's say. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey. I'm really glad to say that uh Breeze and Hub Helper Harry are pretty much neck and neck now. At least the GPT version and the in-app version for Breeze. Uh yeah,
Well,
it's
I think it's possible you might actually be running on a better model. Um, so that makes sense.
it's a little different
But
now.
I remember uh, like the first time I realized like this watching somebody else solve their issue with Hub Helper Harry is when like I first realized how like where we're going in terms of just democratization of capability and not having all these barriers because it was in Sprocketeer like 2024. I was in Sprocketeer like Slack like daily, right? And I got this question about I think it was about reporting with Operations Hub or something like that. Like somebody just direct messaged me, and I said, not my expertise, not my strength. So go like put it in the channel for Ops Hub, or and like if you put it there, then I'll tag some people and they can chime in and come and answer the question for you. And I think that might have happened, but uh, I got a message 20 minutes later from the person saying, "No, I just went over to Hub Helper Harry and problem solved." Right? And that was back in 24, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's like if you're in the ecosystem, especially if you're in our echo chamber of consultants and agencies, like you don't have to look very far for people that have gotten help from Hub Helper Harry. Um, so, but you mentioned some things weren't the way that like you wanted them to be. Uh, can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, it was really the case where like we well, I say we, my team at the time, we were looking for like again like an easy way for us to be able to access information that we needed to when we're with clients or like double check ourselves or whatever the case was. And using ChatSpot was where like I thought everything was going to change. And it's like, oh, cool. Now I have this thing in app that I can use in order to just reference whatever I need to. And it just felt very unfortunate because it's like, huh, okay, that doesn't seem to be the case actually. Uh, every time I ask ChatSpot something, it's like 8 out of 10 times it doesn't know. And I'm asking it very basic questions that are like default HubSpot things that, should be able to answer that no problem. So it's a little weird that like it's getting tripped up on it. And after that happened enough times, it was mainly like that was probably the biggest driving motivator was just like, hey, the default tool should be better and it's not. So I'm just going to go make a better tool since that one isn't. And yeah, just it started there, kind of got out of kind of got out of hand real fast. Because I started just grabbing every and every like any and every resource related to HubSpot as well, and Salesforce information, integrations information. It started with, hey, let's try to make a great HubSpot resource to help people with HubSpot issues, and it turned into like, hey, let's just make like a really great HubSpot centric Martech resource that people can use.
So as you've been talking about transitioning from a custom GPT for a long time, while also getting fairly good at just building whatever app comes to you in the moment, um, all outside of custom GPTs. Uh, what does what um, through that process of learning how to like build apps and just all of this development activity that's been happening, things we talk about almost every day at this point, like where does that take Hub Helper Harry?
Sorry, so like where does the modification or like the ability and the future modifications or whatever, where is it going to take him?
Like how are you thinking about what like standalone, not attached to specific GPT or, anything like that version?
Yeah, there's a so there is a standalone paid version that's just it's on the doorstep. Um that people are going to be able to use very very soon, that is Anthropic based, so it's not sort of kind of moving away from the GPT platform, um, for a multitude of reasons, but primarily for data security and safety. And outside of that, yeah, it kind of turns, it's one of those things where you thought that you already had a diamond when you were looking at it, but you didn't quite realize that there was something even more special underneath. So in creating this newer version of Harry and migrating him over to Anthropic, there was quite a bit at the core that I kind of had like glossed over in terms of like, oh, it would be awesome, or it could be awesome to use him for like these different outputs or use him for these different applications. Um, I would get into it, but it's going to be some like front screen stuff that when you guys do see it. Um, and I didn't realize that outside of like not just HubSpot, but like outside of marketing, what the potential was going to be leading up to this year. So there is definitely something independently coming that has Harry at the core that is definitely going to be a major. I hope. I hope it will be a very major disruptor for like the um, plugin ecosystem. So it won't necessarily be for like SaaS. So like don't get too scared. But it'll definitely be like a plugin ecosystem type thing where like if people were going to be developing that, it will likely be Harry doing that for you. Um, and yeah, there's what I look forward to is the fact that like this is only the beginning. So like as I was reviewing it last night, it was just one of those things where it's like, you know what? Maybe we take like another couple extra days here because there's like this aspect of like agentic functionality that's going on now where we were talking about ourselves like putting together like our own little internal mult bot, and that then my brain kept like jumping back to that in terms of like, oh wait, but we're not going to like pigeonhole ourselves into this too quickly and then we're not going to be able to like pivot later. um and so I was like, all right, well, there's definitely the space for the chatbot for like people to use for reference and stuff like that. There's obviously a space to look at in terms of coding and CMS and all that kind of stuff. Um, but then there's also another aspect of a problem that I've been hearing people talk about a lot lately, right? Which is like your own CRM management and like how you would, yeah, like CRM customization. So there's something, there's like some other larger stuff that's coming down the road too. But um I see it as being like a being able to facilitate multiple aspects um for like all levels of users in a lot of different directions. It's a really cool thing where my partner and I were just talking about the fact that um a lot of companies seem to be staying too narrow in a time when you have the ability to go wide, right? And still have control over it. So I'm looking forward to it. I know this stuff seems very generic. It's tough to talk about specifics before you actually release anything. Um, but essentially what I'm trying to get at is that like chatbots are definitely going to turn in, and they're already in most cases, but if they haven't, will be very soon. Just assistants, and then assistants, which were already like kind of a big thing, or kind of, you could think of them as offices or groups of agents at this point. Um, and then of course you got your software build outs, but I think okay, I can drop a little something.
Do we get a
Just
sneak
think
peek
of think
today?
of I yeah, well, yeah, I can definitely show you the chatbot, but I would say think of it like think of it like Moltbot, but it's iPass.
Yeah, that's sort of like,
Right? Because like, why not? When I thought about it, I was like, it kind of seems like if you just stripped it all away, it's really just dude from mailroom taking stuff over to the other place, right? And then bringing back the response or what have you. So it's like, well, I'm not really sure why you need iPass altogether. I think you just create a resource that can actually just go talk to the other resource directly, as opposed to, yeah. So it's like a nice little door knock feature too.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of like what I'm hearing, and especially when Dharmesh posted about hub code, um, the the Claude Code IDE experience that we've been enjoying, like, I think is on the table for anybody building stuff like this. And I think that's what you mean as far as going wide. Like if you've established the vertical expertise, right? Like why stop at just like helping answer the question, right?
Right.
Like it's like one thing to go get knowledge help from Harry, but that sounds like it's possible maybe in the future to say, okay, Harry, like sounds good, go do it, kind of
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
It's definitely going to be the case where it goes beyond the chatbot, right? And I think for a lot of Hub Helper Harry users, this kind of helps to bridge that educational gap too. Like takes people from the seat of like, oh, I was just using it for chat, to, oh wow, I can use it for this too. Because the I think one of the things that was like really most important to me about building this out was helping people with that transition. And so a lot of the like suggestion chips that you get afterwards, instead of like, some of them are follow up, but a lot of them are like, if you're actually doing something with code, it's like, oh, build this out for me, or like, hey, can you ship this, or like um, asking additional direction on like, okay, well, how do we actually go about implementation? Um, there's aspects of attempting to try to keep it more realistic. A lot of people's thoughts and comments came to mind when working on this. The whole AI native aspect of things. Um, I think one of the bigger challenges still, because it's not quite what I want. It's not quite talking the way I want it to just yet. The biggest challenge has been getting it to something we were talking about earlier last week. Has been getting it to shake off trying to use like really old school academic like marketing stuff, right?
yeah,
And trying to keep it from leveraging too much like corporate, uh, really like the old school stuff that you know either doesn't work, or isn't relevant anymore, or is just tried and played out. Um, I think that's been the biggest challenge, is getting it to understand, like trying to get it to fight against that norm, and to inject the reality that like, hey, timetables have changed, the way that we work has changed. Um,
yeah,
Taking a little bit after
overcoming the
that
training
human
data,
AI collaboration.
right? And like the way it's built, like the math behind it, it's like makes sense why this is such a challenge to overcome the training data. Um, But I'm curious, George, when you hear that, as far as like a HubSpot specific hub helper Harry that not only can help answer questions, but can actually execute on those answers.
Like, where does my brain go?
Yeah, I always want to know where your brain goes.
Well, there's a couple things that I'm sitting here thinking about. One was like, and I went kind of just as far as timetables, I was like, man, I would just set a hardcore rule of whatever time you think it's going to be, divide that by 3 and then say that instead, please, because you're way off. But so I'm battling with, I haven't seen anything and I'm a visual guy, dang on it. And like, I want to see it. Right. So I'm battling with that, but I'm listening to like everything that's been said. And the part that I'll say that I've really been enjoying is the talking of the journey to get where we're about to be, even though Nico's doing a really great job of creating this like canyon of, I don't know what the F he's talking about, but it sounds cool. Like, you know what I mean? Because like most people, by the way, you said, imagine this, but I pass. And you guys are like, ah, and I'm like, I don't know what the that means. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what? And so like, I'm hanging on for this ride and I'm enjoying the ride. And I'm like, well, what can it, and then also the other part of me is like, well, doing like, I shouldn't even be thinking about that, but like I've got doing down. Like I built 2 things in the last 3 days in HubSpot that your boy George B. Thomas could have never built in HubSpot historically, but it was like, I'll use the word easy. But then I temper myself and I go, well, maybe not easy. It was fun and challenging at the same time. Therefore, it felt easy. But I sit there and I go, now hang on a second. Take me out of the equation. Listen to the story that's been told. Think about the canyon that's been created. And for most mere mortal human HubSpot users, this might be like the unlock that makes their day not suck. So that's kind of where like I'm wondering if something is about to be released that is so helpful that like you could enjoy your job again as a HubSpot admin versus feeling stressed to flip out. And I know not all admins are stressed out. I'm just saying some things that I've seen in the ecosystem, but yeah.
I think whether I want to or not, I'm actually going to launch tomorrow, and just deal with it and cobble as I go along. I think I'll give everybody 7-day free trial so they can try not to make me go bankrupt while having a lot of fun. And I will use that time to do some refinements and whatnot. But yes, so far, here's what I can say, and I'm actually, while I'm a little scared to say it, I'm actually also very excited to say it. There's been a really, really, really good amount of beta testing going on in the background up to now, and Harry hasn't gotten a single thing wrong yet. So really, really looking forward to it. Definitely now that I even say it, want to drop it tomorrow, and super, super excited for everybody to get their hands on it and try to break it as much as possible.
So does that mean we get to unbox it tomorrow?
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah.
Ooh.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Yep,
I will say,
jump in it.
I will say, Nico, I'm glad to hear, it has nothing to do with what you're doing or what you're going to drop, but I'm glad to hear you say what you just said, because I basically the entire time, the thing that I showed yesterday was this like massive page, 2 downloadable campaign, like 10 purchasable like PDFs, like, and everything that I've been building on the spiritual side of leadership.com has been built in the open. Like there have been spaghetti stains on the t-shirt, and there's been a rip in the jeans, but like it was just like, no, I'm gonna get it out there and you're gonna see ugly, and you're gonna see good, and you're gonna see it mold, and you might hate it, and you might come back, but like it was literally just working in the open.
Mhm.
And it's very interesting when you allow yourself to um have the freedom and flexibility to understand that people can come along the messy middle journey with you, is and you don't have to control perfection.
Yeah.
Like it's a nice place to live, especially with all of that we're doing and talking about, and being able to be flexible and nimble, and like ideate and creativity and listen and launch, and like it's just really important to live in that space.
I dig
Yeah.
it.
Well, I'm excited to unbox it with you tomorrow. So, if you're excited to see Hub Helper Harry, uh, is it like what 2.0, 3.0? Does it have a point oh?
I guess he would be 4.0 if we were
4.0.
at a version, yeah.
All righty.
If he had a
Yeah.
version.
Let's
Yeah.
go. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks,
Peace
fellas.